had a horse named Fern, and I can see this horse truck coming and grabbing my horse. But then I can also see my little P-Dub 50, you know, and just like so excited.
That's so rad.
How old were you?
Cool. 3.5. Ricky, I just always had so much respect for him, right?
Yeah.
Like it was off-track game, you know, like he would say so much crap to you, completely say the opposite when a camera or somebody was around. Yeah. And you're just like, really? I feel like I learned mind games through Ricky.
But he was like, dude, I want to make moto like Formula One. I want people to look at us as racers just like they look at Formula One. And the dude was walking at the Met Gala.
I miss that about our racing. I think our racing today is so vanilla. Our athletes are so vanilla.
Coolest stats that I saw from you was that you're the only rider in Supercross history to win on 4 different bikes.
Was.
Who just beat that?
Eli equaled it. I couldn't tell you the last X Games, and I don't even know if it exists, that I watched.
Yep.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, we are back with another episode of the Jaxxon Sports Podcast. I'm sitting here with the greatest co-host in the history of two-wheel sports. Ladies and gentlemen, Twitch Stenberg!
Yeah! Yeah!
Why you laugh? Why you laugh, Grandfather? Why you laugh?
Because I'm not the greatest. I talk
co-host.
mediocre, but I'm really good at
So
talking
you
shit.
think Gypsy Tales is better at doing a podcast than you?
Yeah.
Oh, man, that's crazy. That's crazy. A humble warrior and servant of God. All hail the grandfather.
He's good at...
All hail the grandfather. A humble warrior. Give it up for the humble warrior. Stenberg. All right. We have a militia reunion this weekend, and we'll get into that. And we got Tyler Bierman, the island hopper. I'm an island boy. Oh, my God. Good to see you on 2 feet.
That's crazy.
I thought I was going to have to watch you swim. I almost called the Coast Guard. And we got the one and only, okay? He has more all-time, I would say he has the most all-time starts in AMA history. Most main event starts in AMA history. 44 career Supercross wins, 5th of all time in motocross history. Ladies and gentlemen, Chad Reed.
Yeah, Chad.
Fire that up. Get louder. Get louder, damn it. Wake it up.
It just exploded.
It's our producer. He's slacking. Drank
back.
a few Monster Beasts at A1 with CJ and the Concrete Cowboys. Now he thinks he's cool. You know, like their first time when they go to an event? It happens like that, though.
Him.
Who, me? That was my second time. That was my second event. Bro, it's great to have you on. I know I've been pestering you in your DM, so I'm sorry for blowing you up. And then all Twitch had to do was send one text and the guy shows up.
I just had to wait till he's in town, dude.
Yeah.
He's
I was
not on the
gonna
West
say.
Coast anymore, you know? It's like, it's hard to get the dudes you want to get because most of them don't live around here anymore.
I was going through some stuff, and one of the coolest stats that I saw from you was that you're the only rider in Supercross history to win on 4 different bikes.
Was.
Who just beat that?
Eli equaled it this weekend.
Okay.
Oh my God.
Yep.
Yeah. So so Eli now is the same. So geez, I have to think. I've won on everything but a KTM, I guess.
Kawasaki, Honda, Suzuki.
When there was only 4 brands.
Yeah, I have a Suzuki win. He doesn't. He has a KTM win. So yeah, we're tied now on that.
Damn, that's crazy.
Yeah, that is cool.
I was talking to Jett and Hunter, and they were telling me how hard it is for riders and people like when they first get on a new bike. And then I know you brought this up on the last pod to really like dial it in, let alone to win on a new bike. Like, is that something that you ever think about as being like one of the biggest like accomplishments of your career, to be able to be that good? You could hop on anything and win.
I saw the stat that Eli equaled it, and for me it was like I made a comment on my story, and it was more that like I think as an athlete it's really quite simple. You just you ride at the highest level that you possibly can, and you contribute to the team. And if you do that correctly, you win races.
If there's no communication, the
yeah.
bike's going to be terrible.
Yeah, and I think that's when you back the ball up a little bit, and you go back 3 months and you see Eli and the offseason he had and the races he chose to race and the level that he raced those races at. I'm not surprised by the outcome of him winning Anaheim 1, just because they did the work, they tick the boxes that you need to, and preparation is always key. It'll always win, especially a guy like Eli with his credentials.
Yeah, I heard some guys actually the other day talking like the amount of stuff they've learned from Eli and his dad in the short amount of time he's been there is like, we've never had this much input on our bike before, and they've learned so much. And like come out A1. Like you could tell, like his bike, Prado's bike, their bikes looked like they worked so good this weekend.
Yeah, and I think, and again, that just goes back to the preparation and, like they were all hands on deck, like when we watched World Supercross and, I'm a fan of it also, just kind of watch it from afar and you take it in and it's the little things that you see happening in the background sometimes tell more the story than the highlight reel on the actual TV. If you look who's there, you recognize when Ian Harrison's at those races, they're not playing, he's not just jumping over the border to Canada or Australia. They're
studying, they're working.
Studying, they're going through it. I mean, even particularly diving into Eli, and he's win this weekend, but like Australia, the track was super gnarly. It was dry, it was dusty. And they recognized that scoop tire, which in my personal opinion is the most ridiculous thing ever. I can't believe these guys ride Supercross on it or even try to ride Supercross on it. But that's my own personal preference. They recognized that it wasn't the right tire. And then moving forward, they didn't really, go with that particular tires, through the rest of testing. So, just little things like that.
Yeah. How old were you when you retired?
30, 39.
39. See, I think like with your era of Supercross, or this era of Supercross now, I feel like everyone retires so young because everyone around them is like, oh, well, you're too old to be getting hurt, or you shouldn't be doing this. Like you have enough money. And it's like, I felt like you guys, and like how Tomac is right now, it's like you rode for so long because you love what you do. Yeah. Where it's like a lot of these guys now, like they come in, they make their money, and then they dip. But then you see how bored they get after they retire, and they don't know what to do with themselves.
Yeah. And I think that the biggest thing that I kind of recognize now, 43, and just you look back at the things you did good and bad, and the mistakes you made along the way, and we'll put you in that category. There's things that you would do, and I for me, and I don't know if it's across the board, but like that 26 to 28, it's a really funky age.
Yeah.
Like you're kind of like, okay, I'm getting old. I'm almost 30, kids, whatever, life is happening. But it's like a funky, weird period. And when you look at your Carmichaels, who else? RV, Dunge, those guys all retired at that 26, 27. I'm like, you don't even know who you are at that point in life. Like you're such a dumbass at that point.
Yeah, exactly. You're still like a teenager.
And I feel like my strong years, and I wish that I knew this today, but like that 32 to 36, there's a window where I think you're really, really good. A lot about the bike, the teams,
everything
your
you're doing.
Body structure. Your body isn't changing too much at that point. So really what you do, you can hone in on it. So the biggest thing, Eli, or, an individual that's in there, he's 32?
Yeah, 32.
It's really just everyone now asking him like, oh, how long are you going to race? You're 32 years old. You're old for our sport. But you look at that podium this weekend, I mean, two guys that are 30 plus years old with multiple kids, and they're 28 seconds ahead of third place.
Yeah. Pretty badass.
Cool. I don't know what to say about it. Is it embarrassing for everybody else? What the heck are you guys doing? Or are they just two badasses out there doing their thing,
Yep.
I'd say dad strength.
Yeah, dad strength.
Because it's cool. Like he said it, the changing on the guard, there was that big period of time when guys are like 27, they're out. But I will say like RV and guys like that, like they didn't ever change teams. Like I look at you and you did it later because you were able to have all this like diverse challenges between these changing of teams and your own team, creating your own team. Like I thought like all that was really cool. And now I think it's that changing in the guard. Like the old dudes are kind of like when I say old dudes, like guys in their early 30s.
For our
like
sport, they're old, really.
Yeah.
Roger DeCoster and KTM just signed a 32-year-old. Like that's unheard of.
Yeah,
like,
it's unheard
like
of.
to even when you think
go win the championship.
When you look at that team and just the infrastructure that they have and how old school they are, for them to enter into an agreement where they hire and take on, like, in my opinion here, the legit main guy that they're expecting to win races is 32 years old.
Yep.
Like that's unheard of for our sport, for a factory guy to put that much emphasis into one guy that old. Not that he's old. Personally.
Yeah, exactly. But it's like everyone's always like, oh, you guys are old. I'm like, yeah, but like 33 is actually like 100. Because like I feel like moto dudes age in dog years. You know what I mean? Like with the injuries and just the stress and everything that you go through. And I feel like there's more and more races every year. It's like these dudes don't get time off to like actually recover and just chill and like and enjoy life. It's like they're always just go. And you can't do anything but think about moto. how am I going to get better? How am I going to beat this dude this week? And it's like, you don't ever get that time to relax anymore. It's like, the schedule's gotten gnarly.
It's gnarly, but I don't know that I kind of agree to disagree only because it's always been gnarly. You know, like the biggest thing that I learned, especially with running my team, like they drop gates every Saturday night, whether you are there or not.
Yeah.
And I don't care how
It's serious.
I don't care how good you are, how much talent you have, you know, whether you're tracing that 72 number. Like, dude, you got to be there Saturday nights.
Yep.
Like, it's just like for me, sometimes we put too much emphasis on how good people are and the future that they have. And it's like, bro, you got to be there every Saturday night. They drop it with you or without you.
I mean, that's the only guy to make all the rounds last year through SMX was Justin Cooper. And like, it's crazy to like, you know, there's that many riders at that caliber, but there's so many races.
One dude
like you
makes
said,
it
it's
through.
One.
like showing up,
one
but that just also shows how gnarly our sport is. You know,
Yeah.
it's like it's unforgiving, and like there's if you're either there or you're not, and there's these races, these gate drops, they happen every Saturday night. Like he's saying, like
It's crazy too because most of these guys and a lot of these guys are also getting hurt more or less training. And that's like one thing I was talking to Jett and Hunter about. They're like, yeah, dude, training, even look at Joe Shimoda. Like a lot of these guys get hurt while getting ready for a race, let alone then they go get hurt while racing. It's like, it's a never ending getting hurt. Like I was talking to Joe Cancellieri this morning about Barsha. I'm like, didn't this guy just come back from a surgery? I just saw him riding his bike down the street, rehabbing his shoulder. Now he's getting hit over the head. I'm like, you just always get hurt. And then on top of that, you get concussions and then your body, like you're saying, the wear and tear. I have a question for you. Do you think you're the only rider in the Hall of Fame that's traded a horse for a bike?
It's possible. And it's crazy. I mean, yeah, making
Is that a true story?
That's a true story. 3.5 years old. I had a horse named Fern. You know, like, I mean, you always have vivid memories of something. And I honestly, I don't recall my first dirt bike riding, but I 100% can vision when I look right now and I can see this horse truck coming and grabbing my horse and just being like, damn, man. But like, but the excitement but then I can also see my little P-Dub 50, you know, and just like so excited.
That's so rad.
How old were you?
3.5.
And you knew that you wanted a bike?
And I made the decision that I guess it was my decision, I'm told. So
Think about how different that could have been. You could have been a horse jockey if you
Right?
didn't get a P-Dub.
I'm probably a little too big for the jockey.
Maybe not
I
back
probably
then.
went the right route.
So when did you make the journey to San Diego? When did you compete in your first 125?
It was 1999
Got
was
it.
my first American race. So back in those days, they had what they used to be a Goat Brecker Invitational in Las Vegas. I was going to race Anaheim 1, but I had cased a triple and hurt my thumb, and so then I didn't race Anaheim 1 and race San Diego back then. And again this year also, but it used to always be the second race of the year. And so yeah, which is kind of funny because it was like my first ever, you know, American race, and happened to be like one of my favorite and one that I won. I have the most wins in San Diego, so pretty cool story, I think.
I love that every year, like when you were racing, like whether you were riding good or not, or coming back from being hurt, like everyone would always be like, "Oh, Reed's gonna win San Diego." It doesn't matter. Like he's gonna win San Diego, and then every fucking time you would win San Diego.
Yeah,
Pretty
even
rad.
when like I mean, just how many different types of wins came from San Diego? Like I think I have 7 there, and like all 7 have a different beginning and ending. Like, you know, like okay, maybe the ending's the same with the W, but how you got there was like, I mean, there was times you showed up and you were just legit the best.
Yep.
And there was other days where it's just like, oh my god,
I just want to make it through the day.
make it through the day, and then you come out. There was always something about Qualcomm that I just like. For me, it was the vibe. Like I remember it. Like I think of my 16-year-old self sitting on the starting line, and it, you know, like it was the first time that I was ever in a stadium that size, and they had the big jumbotron, you know, one on one side, one on the other side.
Yep.
And I remember being there on the starting line and just being like, bro, like the, you know, the card girl goes by.
Yep.
And then you see yourself in the background, and then they zoom through everybody, and I'm like, brother, I'm on the TV, you know, I'm on the big screen, and it was kind of funny. And that vibe never went away. Like that was what
Every
I
time
loved.
you went there, you
That's
just
what I
had that
loved
same
about
feeling.
Supercross. I mean, geez, like 265 main events later, and I still have that vibe. You know, I raced my last race in the COVID era where there was no fans.
That's
but,
crazy.
But we still had the jumbotron working, and I still remember being in Salt Lake City and still having that vibe where you're just like, fuck yeah, this is cool. You know?
I got a question. When you did your Suzuki deal, it was basically, was it a Supercross only deal? And then they didn't have budget for you to go race outdoors?
Yeah, it wasn't in the budget at that point. Like, it's funny you look back now, but back then it was like I had taken a small pay cut, which today I would sign that deal tomorrow. It was a great deal.
Yeah, exactly.
Many millions, but it was more that it was just like, oh yeah, it's not, the budget's not quite there to be where we were at. Let's just do Supercross only, and so I did that, and then.
But that's when you did the insurance policy. Was it Lloyd's of London? Like you took an insurance policy out on yourself?
So you couldn't take it on yourself, but you could have other people take it, and so Suzuki did one, and Parts Unlimited did one at 2.5. So.
And you won the championship that year for outdoors.
Ended up being a pretty good championship.
So
bonus.
sick.
I
remember hearing that, and I was like,
I
would clearly and easily say that as the biggest championship bonus ever.
Can you break it down for the audience how that works?
well, just think about the confidence you have to be like, hey, pull this policy out on me because I'm going to win this year.
Yeah.
Like,
So typical policy stuff, like I had deductibles and things like that, and so my deductible is I had to win a minimum of 5 races to be eligible. So whether let's say I won 4 races and I won a title by 300 points, like it didn't matter.
Still didn't count. You
Still,
didn't have
I
5.
still get $0. So anything once I won the 500, the 5 races, then I was eligible for the $5 million bonus.
Had to have been a pretty good relief.
So
like
cool.
after you get that 5, where you're like, all right, I can just focus on racing again. Like not have to worry about this shit. I'm still. I'm going to make
hard.
money.
Like it was like damn. Like and the season I hadn't raced Supercross motocross in 3 years.
Yeah.
And so it kind of started out where I was like, damn, like.
What I signed up for.
It's, like why I went away from this series is like, damn, it's hard, and it's hot. And we were chasing bike settings. We were kind of off on our own path of a new setting. And that particular season, Mike Alessi was really my teammate, and he was really good. And he was on the year before. He had broke his leg in Supercross, and so he didn't have time to test. And so he basically just jumped on his last year's bike settings. Which he was quite competitive, against.
He was always
James.
good on the Suzuki.
He was like the clear second guy to James that year, and so he rode really well, and he was crushing it early on. And I'm just like, damn, like, what is happening? Like, why don't I have the same feeling? Like, why can't I do what I think I can do on this bike? And finally, we ended up saying, I'm just like, dude, like, Mike's beating me. Like, Mike's a good dude, no disrespect, but I'm like, I should be beating Mike Alessi.
Yeah.
And so then I rode his bike or his settings, and I was just like, oh my God, okay, here, and I want his shock, and let's kind of go off on our own path on forks. And then as soon as we did that, I started winning races. I went 1-1 that next weekend. Yeah.
So rad.
Yeah.
Was that the same year you did a backflip too?
Yeah. So I had won the
That
title.
was gnarly. You won the title. Like, dude, he did a lot of cool shit when he was on the Suzuki that year. I remember just like,
see, I got street cred in this room.
hell
too.
yeah, you do.
Yeah, you did.
And you didn't go to an airbag or a foam pit. You
No
went to the
airbag,
mulch
was fucking
pile,
mulch.
straight super
It
kicker. That was
so
gnarly.
dumb and scary, like just as you guys. I mean, you guys can relate to that. Just so I had won the title. I was getting ready for Motocross of the Nation, so we'd already put the 1 on the bike for the national championship. Greg Godfrey calls me and says, "Hey, come to Utah. We want to do this cool shoot." And it was where they were putting explosives in berm in the whoop. So I was kind of like, as I'm going through the whoop, like literally it's exploding, and it was like I remember just doing this through the whoops, blowing the berm up, and then you guys are gonna know his name more than I'm blanking. The lawyer guy that they always had.
Oh, I know exactly who you're
that's
talking
right.
You know who I'm
about.
talking
Yeah,
about.
yeah, long hair. Jeremy.
Jeremy.
Yeah,
Was it
yeah.
Jeremy? So Jeremy's there, and then so at that particular facility is where Travis did his TP roll, I think it was
Yeah.
it? And so it was not only a
super kicker
It was not
popped
only
up
a super
gnarly.
kicker, but it was a super kicker like fully elevated.
It was a super kicker on
Yeah,
steroids.
on
Like it was
steroids.
gnarly.
So then the
Basically
jump
hitting
was,
a wall.
and
Yeah.
it was probably only like 15 feet. Like it was super small. So I'm like, dude, I didn't even like. If I'm gonna jump this jump, I think I would just do a flip.
Because it's already going to loop you out so
Yeah.
bad.
Yeah, and so I'm like, I'm more scared to jump the jump than actually try to do the flip. So then they're like, well, just do the flip. And then of course the Godfrey, what we know now is the kind of the Nitro crew, and so the peer pressure started. And then
And they're really good at peer
Oh,
pressure.
they're great.
They could talk you
and
into doing
Travis wasn't
anything.
there, thankfully.
There's a lot.
And
of
so
that.
then I really didn't have somebody that I kind of trusted to help me, even though he's insane and an idiot. But,
Yeah.
but I
He'll talk
trusted
you into
him a
doing
little
stupid
bit
shit,
in
too.
my life. And so then Jeremy jumps on some old KTM and does this backflip, and I'm like,
You're like, if this fucking dude can do it.
this dude can do it. I can do it,
Just won a championship.
And I'm first
good.
gear. And I'm like, never hit the jump like that, never hit a super kicker. And I'm just like, brr, 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 you know, and pull back. And then I
Over-rotated, right?
And, you know, and of course, you guys have all heard it. Like, they're like, oh, yeah, you'll spot the landing. Well, I get down and I see like at least an area where I'm like, I could land that and I'm not going to die. And I knew I'd get away from the bike. So then my earliest opportunity, I was just like, I'm out.
Yep.
But then it kind of just gave me that feeling of the rotation.
Yeah.
And so then I was like, okay, now I have that to, you know, to at least focus on. And so then the next one I pulled, and then I over rotated like 3 in a row, where I kind of landed, but just like I was going too much and over rotated, and it was like mulch. And then I would like, it was like,
Get a handful of throttle. Yeah.
Yeah. And then I just, the one I landed was the scariest one because I slowed it down intentionally.
Yep.
But dude, it was so scary. Like just because it felt like it was so slow, and I wanted to be like, get me around, you know?
Yeah,
like,
yeah, exactly. Like,
so it just was like that slow rotation where I'm like, damn, it would take me a minute to get used to that feeling, you know?
That's why I don't like flipping short jumps. Like, because you have to rotate so slow, and it's so easy to over rotate and so easy to under rotate.
Yeah.
Like you have to like
it's a
be on. There's a small margin
really
where it's like
small
where you
margin.
feel good doing it.
How do you hold your rotation in the air? Like, how do you maintain your balance, like your equilibrium?
You just the bike's heavy enough to where you just do it. Like there's things that you spot. Like I always look at the tip of the landing when I'm leaving off the ramp, and then I'm like, oh, sky, dirt, ramp, dirt. I'm like, there it goes. Like it just clicks.
And
But
I
you're
honestly don't
looking
know
all
that.
the
Like
way.
everyone's like, oh yeah, you'll see the landing. I don't know that I have ever still to this day.
Yeah,
I'm like,
it takes a little bit.
Yeah, like I feel like it would take multiple, and that's why it would be nice to do it in a more safer area than just. Mulch.
That was your first time ever attempting it?
Yeah, and as soon as I landed it and rode away, I'm like, yeah, that's done.
Yeah.
And what's cool is no one that could influence him and tell him actually how to do it was there to do it. He just did it on his own with an attorney.
Yeah, the lawyer did it. I got it.
Yeah, so it's not even like you did it with like the coolest crew. And
No,
you're
it's not
trying
like
to show off.
It's not like someone that's done 100 was like, okay,
Yeah.
Chad, just come in, do this.
Yeah.
You know, like you just did it. Like that was respect, dude. That was rad.
And it's probably just more me, like, because like I have to feel something. Like you could tell me a million times like what it's like, you know, and then like until you feel it, anything that someone tells you, it doesn't make sense until you actually fuck it up or do it.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly.
Like, and so I kind of just that first one where I kind of was like, yeah, I know I can not die here.
Yeah.
I'm getting out, and then but then I had that feeling. I had flipped a BMX, so I kind of like. I knew I could do it.
yeah,
like,
it's similar,
yeah.
but still so different.
So like what the BMX, I feel like I pulled real hard. Where the dirt bike, I couldn't pull hard, like because it felt like it just wanted to rotate.
Because I learned, I did the same thing. I did a bunch of them on a BMX bike, and then the first time I went to the pit, and I actually did it because the first time I went to the pit, I bitched out.
Yeah.
And I never heard the end of it for 2 weeks straight from Carrie Hart just texting me every day. You pussy. I can't believe you came all the way to Vegas and didn't even fucking
Didn't even
flip.
flip.
Like, you're such a pussy. So I was like, when I went there, I was like, I'm flipping. So I did a bunch. And then when I got up there, like the first flip I did, as soon as I got upside down and I saw the landing, I was like, fuck, this is going so slow. Like I thought I was under rotating because I was so used to the BMX bike spinning so fast. And then I watched the video of my bike go all the way around. I'm like, oh, if I would have stayed on, I would have been good. So I landed my second one. But everyone's like, oh, well, if you can flip a BMX bike, you can flip a dirt bike. It helps a little bit to an extent, but it's still not the same.
Were you flipping BMX bikes before your bike?
Yeah, I had to. I wanted to learn them bad.
So that's how you learned first, though, on the BMX bike.
Yeah, that, and then I flipped like a little Honda 52.
Dude, to stay on that subject, but Carrie's backflip is gnarly. Way more gnarly after you've done one yourself, I think.
Yeah.
Like him, like
His
doing
first
it on
one?
that retarded like vert ramp
yeah.
Dude,
with no
that was
landing.
so
like,
gnarly.
like it like in the big scheme of things, you think, okay, that's the progression. But then you think like I remember when Metzger then went to the 80-foot.
Yeah.
And it was like, oh my God. But now you think it's like how much better and easier it is than like what Carrie did.
Yeah,
He is so high.
He pretty
And
much did it on a
like,
cliff jump.
oh my
really?
God.
And he was figuring it out too for the first time. It's
Yeah.
like now, like if you flip that jump, you're doing it in first gear, where he did it in second gear, where he was just all boop, boop,
Yeah.
boop, boop.
And you just think that like what Carrie did is so
gnarly.
so underestimated.
Yeah, and that's like I've still never seen anyone flip basically a spine like that
Yeah.
as high as he did.
Yeah.
Like
No,
he was
so
high, dude. Like
I remember those dial-up internet days for us in Australia, and just watching it being, oh my God, you know, like
Yeah, that was like that day. It's still to this day when you watch it back, like for that period of time,
So
you're just
gnarly.
like
16-year-old me's just like, no fucking way,
Yeah.
like
But
tripping.
I do think too, like you were saying, like once you would do it a couple of times and you would feel like you'd start to see like, okay, there's the tip of the landing sky ramp coming around. It's the same thing as like a set of whoops. You can teach a
You can tell me as many times as you want to do it, but until I fuck it up, that's how I'm gonna figure it out.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
Just lean back, click forth. Don't be a
I
pussy.
mean, I think we're all kind of in that ballpark. Like we all do shit. Like none of us learned in school, really.
No.
Yeah.
Like if someone could tell you a million times, do this, do that, but you gotta like we like to feel shit, get out there and
for
do it
sure.
right.
I'm a
I
firm
got-
believer in learning.
I got
harder.
I got the Chad Reed highlights on over here, and it just went through 2003, and it's talking about rivalries, the Carmichael Wars. And a lot of people on our Jaxxon podcast Discord, we tell people who are going to come on the show the night before. They give us a bunch of questions. We ask them what they want to hear from. People want to know, do you guys hate each other? People want to know, were you guys friends? People want to know, were you upset that you won 6 straight? And then, he beats you by, 7 points to win the title. Like, can you walk me through that 2003 season? And then kind of for the fans at home, we'll put this video in the corner so they can see what we're looking at as well for the highlights.
Yeah, these highlights are more like 06 era, but the 03 season, the biggest thing that I always reflect on when I think of 03 is just Ricky was really clever from what he had learned from Jeremy. Obviously, he's a little older than me, and just he had experience at not even just dirt bike experience, but just experience at such a high level with the media and all the BS that no one teaches you about. You're really good until you get to that position, and then you start tripping over yourself on things that you just don't even know. Yeah. I was obviously good. I won the first race really easy, but you look back at the season and I just made 2 errors, rookie mistakes. Like I was the fastest guy in St. Louis that year. I believe it was St. Louis. Actually, I think it was Minneapolis. And yeah, it was Minneapolis. Minneapolis, I was so fast. I passed him, pulled away, crashed. Got back on, caught back up to him, and like super fast. And so like I had speed to burn and didn't use it correctly, and just like more is more. And just cartwheeled myself. My bike broke and the seat come off. And anyway, I ended up 6 in that race. And it's like I made 2 mistakes like that during the season. And it's like even if I had made only 1, the 6th place is enough points for me to win the title. So just little things like that where when you look back and you're like, yeah, I mean, winning 6 races, but then I also know that he was in a position that he could, the guy that got 3rd in all 6 races was Ernie, which was, Carmichael's teammate. And so I kind of felt like I was in a real shitty situation where like, even if, Ernie was never going to beat him because Honda would say, hey, well, like the title's the focus. We're going to do what we need to do to win the title. So like Salt Lake City, my patience had ran out and I started taking things into my own hands and roughed him up a little bit. And,
There's a quote from Carmichael that said, smoking him in the second half of 2003 is not how he would want to win a title.
Yeah.
And I think Carmichael said that in 2003.
but the $1 million check still clears, and the number one, the number one on the door, in his house is still looks better than my, hey, I'm -7. So he talks shit too. So
Yeah, exactly. 100%.
sure.
Ricky,
He could say some stuff that got
Ricky-
underneath your skin.
Oh,
He seems like
yeah.
the nicest guy on planet Earth.
No.
Yeah, but back then these dudes were so fucking confident and I felt like you guys just hated each other because you knew like I have to beat this motherfucker this week.
Was it real hate?
It's funny because I liked both Ricky and James.
Yep.
But James more than Ricky, but Ricky, I just always had so much respect for him, right?
Yeah.
Like he was older than me, and I think that I grew up in a family that you always respect your elders.
Yep.
He was a badass, but God, did I want to kick his ass and just crush him. And for me, Ricky was he was frustrating, and he said all the right thing. He was clever.
Yeah, he was.
much more clever than people.
He
give
could
him
talk
credit.
shit
We always-
without talking
we always
shit.
talk about how fit and strong he was, and that's all legit. But like it was his off track game, like he would say so much crap to you, and then completely say the opposite when a camera or somebody was around. Yeah. And you're just like, really?
It's a full mind game.
You're always mind games.
Yeah.
I feel like I learned mind games through Ricky. And I miss that about our racing. I think our racing today is so vanilla. Our athletes are so vanilla.
Yeah.
Like sometimes I miss that.
What do you mean
like,
vanilla?
Just boring.
Like how J-Law would be pounding on the doghouse talking shit to Gundy.
Well,
getting in his head
J-Law's
right
like a
before the
whole
gate
nother
dropped.
level, right? Like,
Yeah.
like what I liked about James and Ricky and I, like what you seen was fucking real. Like it
Yeah.
wasn't fake. Like we weren't like saying it and then like walking around and we're buddy, like for the most part, like in that arena, I think we were pretty good at, once we left the arena, we were always good. Like,
It was
we were
different,
on
yeah.
multiple flights together and everything was fine. But we were just so competitive.
Yeah.
And when you're in that arena, it was like everything you said or did was to literally fuck with the other guy.
Yeah,
You know?
but I feel like when you're that competitive and you're like that good of an athlete, it's like you need little things like that to push you to the next level.
100%.
Oh, he said what? All right, watch this. You know what I mean? Just those little triggers.
Yeah.
In 2006, the closest championship series title right here, and you lose by 2 points, and it was the closest championship in AMA history, and you lose with a level 3 shoulder separation. Did you have the shoulder separation the entire series?
I had it at the week before Daytona. It was Dallas, that one right there.
And that's when they say that the series starts after Daytona.
Yeah.
Because that's about half.
So the Thursday before Daytona, I had crashed at my practice place, now the Lawrence's place. And yeah, it separated my shoulder. And back in those days, qualifying wasn't for a gate pick. It went on championship. So basically you could kind of ride through practice. And so like I hadn't hit the whoops at that particular race until the heat race.
No way.
You know, like just kind of like I rode the track, got it down, you were getting shot up, with painkillers. And nowadays they kind of frown upon that, but I don't know. I think that you're unique. You're a fucking dirt bike rider. And
Yeah.
like sometimes
figure it out
I
when you
think-
have to.
Yeah, I think rules and regulations are becoming in the world in general, not just racing, but I think that whatever it takes to get back on the dirt bike, that's your job.
Yeah,
Get out there and
100%.
race.
Was that the most like intense rivalry season you ever had?
Yeah, just because you couldn't give an inch, like we, right when one guy, like when there's three of you, like one guy's always on, but
Every
it's not
weekend,
like
dude.
it's not like all three of you are gonna have bad days, and
No.
so there's always, and again, like we were always a good flavor. Like it was such a good rivalry because Ricky was older, not much older. I think he's only 3. It was like I think it's 3 years, so I think it's like 3 from Ricky to myself, and then 3
Stu.
from me to Stu.
Yep.
So it was always that good thing where it's like, Ricky did things that was a little bit more advanced and more mature than I did, and then I did things that were, the same for James, and then James just had pure speed.
Yeah,
So
dude,
then
he was so
like
fast.
there was days where you just fucking like, dude, he's unbeatable. Like just no
Yeah.
human can ride a dirt bike that fast.
Yeah.
It's
It
kind of
was-
it was scary.
It was
Especially
so
it's-
scary.
it's-
I learned, which you didn't share it at the time, but like sometimes he'd be so gnarly, and you'd be right on him, and he's faster, but you'd be there. Well, then you kept him, and he was like on his game because he was pushing.
Yeah.
Like sometimes when I was just like, dude, I can't do this. Like one of us are gonna die, and it's probably gonna be me. So so I would just give up.
Yep.
And just let him go.
Just take your spot.
Dude,
You're like, I'm
and,
good
and
here for
then
the
so
night.
then he had to control it, and he had to think about it, and dude, in like a lap or two later, he would
Cartwheel.
yard sail himself.
You
And
can
you're
kind of
like-
just set into your own
It didn't
pace.
always happen, unfortunately, but
Yeah.
but
But
there
in
was
the back of your
times-
head, you're like-
No, I would do it. I 100% because you'd be way out in front. It would just be the two of us.
Yep.
And then you're just like, I'm gonna let this dude go and see what happens. Like just see if that breaks.
Yeah.
see his
If I don't, I'm going to
concentration.
crash. So I'm just going to
And
see
then
what he
there
does.
was a few times where you just like, all right, and then you win the race. Like,
You're like, huh.
not even close to being the fastest guy at that point, and, but you're just like, I gotta try something.
I
That's
feel
kind
like
of like where that mind game comes in.
Yeah.
though,
It
you
is.
know? Like if I'm pushing this hard and I feel uncomfortable, I'm gonna let him go, and he's gonna continue to push until he thinks about it. And then once he thinks like, "Whoa, I'm pushing too hard," and he backs it down, then he crashes.
Yeah.
And then Reedy gets back to the lead.
Yeah,
what I mean?
exactly.
It's kind of like a whole mind game thing. I want to ask, like, between the two, you being between the two age groups and somewhat of a generation, right? What was the bigger rival for you? I would imagine from me watching you and Stu go like
James
straight
and I
head-
think
head to
went at
head.
it longer.
Yeah.
Ricky was short term, because he Ricky and I, it was, even though it was intense, it was like really respectful. Where James and I just seemed like it got kind of nasty. Like we were it went for many years. We were kind of gnarly with each other.
Yeah, you'd see you guys
brutal.
pull up on the finish line
Yeah.
afterwards and like
Oh,
talking shit to each
yeah.
other, like grab each other real quick, like
Yeah.
just straight emotion though. Like, what the fuck are
Straight
you
emotion.
thinking? You know?
And again, like post racing, the two of us have spent quite a bit of time, talking, chatting, and it's funny how like even his upbringing and his family, like I can go hang out with Big James and it's like he feels like my dad.
Yeah.
Like literally, like word for word, the things he says and the way he thinks is really, really similar to my upbringing.
That's cool.
And so I think in general, I think James and I, we're different people, but really ethically how we were raised and brought
Similar.
up. It's really similar.
Yeah.
And so you could kind of see where we would butt heads just because we are similar.
Yeah.
For sure.
And then again, at the end of the
You're
day,
getting the
like,
same thing told to you guys.
you
Like,
just wanted to win.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
there's just that drive and passion and it's like that one individual that was thorn in your side and that was stopping all the winning, you know?
I feel like the Supercross tracks back, like when you guys, like your generation of like battling with each other were like, I feel like it was so much quicker, but still so much more technical. I feel like now they're trying to do so much to slow the tracks down where it doesn't create good racing like how it used to be. Because like every weekend it would be the top 3 dudes would be battling back and forth. There wasn't much of a gap unless like someone was like clearly way better that day.
The bikes are gnarly now because it's like they all, you know, all of them, it doesn't matter the color, they're all pretty good, you know, like
Yep.
they're like they all start really well, they stop really well, you know, they all turn really well. Where like I think initially 4-strokes was quite new, they were carbureted. Where now I think that, you know, since the introduction of fuel injection, it just opens up that huge can of worms of electronics.
Yeah.
And so now we have more horsepower than we've ever had because you can now control it and put it to the ground.
Yeah.
So it's like, how fast can we make this thing, but still be able to put it to the ground? And
Yeah.
those limits seem still like what I see today, even just riding, you know, and working with different engineers, like it's still evolving already, you know, and like you look at how you talk about how fast, you know, Eli's KTM is. And it's like they just basically threw everything at it.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like, and then now they're starting to figure out, okay, we're giving it all this power, and then you can electronically, you know, make
Detune this, detune that,
exactly.
like-
Power to
But
the
you can
ground.
put it exactly where you want it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
your opportunities are so much more. And, you know, just like that drop out of a turn to triple or quad is just so gnarly.
But like when you guys were on like 252 strokes, like you didn't have all that
Yeah.
shit. Like you guys, it was your right hand and
would-
your body movement of like what
It was
you could jump and
a
what
lot
you
of
could do.
skill, yeah. And not saying that there's not skill now, because I think that a dirt bike's still going to always
Oh, for
require
sure.
skill. But it just, for sure, it's just that's even if you go one step back to the 125,
Yeah.
like just how gnarly, like remember guys wouldn't jump the triples.
Yeah,
Where
for
now
sure.
like a 250F, the C group guys are jumping it on the first or second lap of
Yeah.
practice.
Yep, yeah.
You know? So it's just, I think the bike has evolved so much.
I think the 2-stroke too, like really being good on the clutch and
Yeah.
learning how to slip the clutch and create less wheel spin. Like that's
I miss walking in the
I love
Supercross.
that.
I remember San Diego. Every time you would walk across the tunnel to go across to the pit, just the smell of all the 2-stroke fuel
it's the best.
was just the best smell ever.
the 2-stroke, 252-stroke,
Yeah.
the loops is the best. sound.
And one thing that's changed, and it's one thing that I started to see this weekend, and I hope it's a trend. I know it was, you know, like we're in SoCal this weekend. We had the typical Santa Ana winners a little bit, and so like obviously practice was it was windy during practice, so it's hard to get all that moisture into the dirt.
yeah.
But like just watching some of these highlights in the background, like the biggest thing I notice is how much like I think drier our tracks were back in the
Way
day.
drier.
You know, like nowadays it just seems like there's so much, you know, moisture in them, and so then you got all this horsepower, all this moisture, traction, and then it just like they eat up the tracks. They get like train tracks, you know, where
Yep.
all the ruts. Where I feel like back then it was a little bit more hard pack, you know, and in the hard pack, like bro with the throttle can make a difference.
Yeah, big time.
And I like that because you start taking, let's just say, just let it eat, you know, aggressive riding to then giving it to the guys that are really, really talented or really skilled.
That can like
and-
finesse it and
Yeah.
like find the traction.
And when you look at, you know, this weekend, you probably got the two best dudes out there, technically speaking.
Yeah.
Ken Roxon and Eli Tomac, 28 seconds out front, you know.
yeah,
For the old dudes.
it's cool to see those dudes still pushing as hard as they are and being on the podium.
Yeah.
Like
Roxon's amazing.
that says a lot.
He's
Because I
Yeah,
think
he's amazing.
like there's just so much more finesse. Like I never really thought about it like that, but seeing the track on Saturday night and then watching some of these old like highlights, like the tracks never were like crazy deep rutted with all that moisture, and then you add the new technology of the bikes, where the skill level and like the work level is now. And then you pair that with like trying to slow these tracks down, no matter how much they're trying to slow it down.
These bikes are fast and they're
with
gonna
all
eat.
this and where everyone is at in motorsports and two wheels, like they're gonna figure out how to go faster on something that they're trying to slow down.
Yeah.
That's just how it is. It's like it's stopwatch all the time.
During your career, you kind of lived through multiple generations of rivalries and kind of put on some of the best races. In an interview, you said that RC never really had any weaknesses, but Stewart did. What did you mean by that?
RC seemed like you could have the dude upside down. You know, like I remember multiple times, but like one time in particular, the night that I cleaned him out in 03, he crashed his brains out in practice, splits his chin open, goes and gets stitches, comes back and still fine, right? He still races and, you know, like whatever. He just, whenever he needed to make mistakes, he always made them at the best time. You know, like always, like he's like a, I don't know if you guys follow road racing, but he's like a Marc Marquez. You know, like he just, when you look at the, you know, our sport doesn't really tally up numbers, but in road racing, they tally all the guys, how many crashes they have. And when you look at the crash count, Marc Marquez is won the race. He set the last 5 or 6 races out because he got hurt or got taken out. Not his fault. But, you know, like when you look at his crash total, it was like, it's up there, you know, like, it's, you know, like he was like the 3rd biggest, most crashed guy or something like that. But yet he wins, you know, every race he entered except for 2, I think. And Ricky was like that, you know, kind of knew when to push the limits, when to pull back, when to manage, when not to manage. James had 1 speed and 1 speed only.
Yeah.
And it was very, very fast speed. When executed correctly, it was just, yeah. And again, no disrespect to, you know, past and present guys, but just no one has rode a dirt bike as good or fast. Maybe not as good is the right word, but as fast as what James was able to do it.
Yeah.
Just corner speed.
The things he would do,
scrubbing,
yeah.
Whoops. He was so gnarly, you know.
He was so good.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
When did the Stewart rivalry pop off when you said that you wanted to rip off his head?
I mean,
All the time.
yeah. Well,
Was there a boiling point?
I mean,
like, when you ran into the back of him or something like that? It's like,
well,
it was a race.
that was, I think,
Was it Anaheim?
09, I think. Yeah, but I mean, I feel like by 09 we were actually somewhat civil. We were stupid beyond that point, obviously, but I mean,
young and dumb.
But a lot of the nastiness had already kind of come and gone at that point. But I think, I mean, right away, I mean, like, I was on the East Coast. He was on the West Coast when we first, like, so my first year in America racing full time was his rookie year. You know, and so he was, you know, winning races on the West. I was winning races on the East. He didn't win the title that year, but I was able to win the title. And even though I won the title and Travis Preston won the title, all of the media noise in, you know, for the East-West shootout was James and I.
Was you guys, yeah.
It wasn't Preston, you know. I remember doing, you know, just, we were, kids at that point. I think I was maybe 19, he was 16. And just, I remember, like, you know, when they put you looking into each other's eyes and they get the picture and just the two of us little kids giggling and whatnot. And just, so like it's
Trying to be serious.
Yeah, trying to be all serious. And just like, those are the memories you take to the grave, right? Just little things like that. I had dislocated my shoulder during the outdoor season in Southwick. And, you know, like I felt that I was as good as him as at times, especially in our rookie season. You know, but there was like things, and I had made a comment, I remember, just like, hey, I need to get a start and go with him. Well, then, you know, we get to, where was it? Unadilla. He hole shots, and then I was up there. He lets me by. And then just
I remember this race.
Blows by me. But I mean, it's like a week or 2 after I had just dislocated my shoulder. And so to be fair,
He kind of knew he had you.
He flexed pretty good, and I would have done the same thing, to be honest.
Yeah.
It was a pretty cool flex. I remember
it was a good flex. Like, you got to give him credit.
Yeah.
Like, I appreciate it.
And they had that confidence of like, I'm gonna let him by, but then I'm gonna pass him right back. I'm gonna do it twice,
The
actually.
commentators
Yeah,
are
and
like,
again, I
"What
mean,
is
you-
Yeah, the
he
commentators were like,
doing?"
I think he just let him by.
yeah, and
That was fucked up.
And so you look at, I mean, here's a 16-year-old kid that's already wired that way, you know. And so I appreciated it, to be honest.
Yep.
But that's probably where it all started. Like, it was never any other way.
And then that's when you're like, okay, dude,
Yeah.
I see what we're doing here.
Yeah.
Did you ever have any issues off the track with these guys that ever escalated to things that people didn't know about, or was it
I
mainly
don't
just
recall
racing
having
them?
any moments off the track. Like, we were always, I feel like everything you seen in the public was always what was being done. Like, I don't recall having a moment. More so, I remember him being underage and getting him in back doors, to nightclubs and stuff. So I think it was almost the opposite.
It's like what you saw is what you got. You guys got in each other's faces and kind of grabbed bars, but it was like on the track still.
Yeah, and even again, like airports. And I mean, for that particular period, we were flying private. And so, but even that was like a flex back then, like
show up in your jet.
You'd see how hard you could
chilling.
You'd see how hard, quickly you could get out of the event, and it was like the first to take off. You'd be just like,
fuck you, I'm out of here.
You might have won the race. You might have the trophy in your jet, but we're out of here.
We're gone. We're going home.
So just all the different things.
Racing jets.
What got you to the point where you were finally like, I'm just going to do my own team?
So I think that going back to what we talked about with the age, like I went through this weird funk where like from that 26, Ricky had retired. And then it was really just James and I. And then it was kind of like then I started being 26, 27. I'm like, I started feeling like, is this the end of the line for me? Like I'm bored. Like I'm kind of just
searching for that what's next thing.
Yeah, and then I, at 28, I had my first child. It was in 2010. My Kawasaki deal just didn't work out. Like I wasn't gelling with the team and the bike and all those things. And so at the end of it, I kind of had a choice. Like I physically wasn't doing well, and so I kind of needed to take some time off and really figure out what was happening with me physically. Kawasaki kind of wanted me to do a lot of things that I didn't align with and agree with, and I didn't think it was the best for my career at that point. So then I kind of was just like, look, you guys really want this and I want that, and let's just maybe just split. Like this doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Like I feel like I was always a good guy like that. Like when you think of it, it was like the relationship ended, but I felt like I did it. I went through the year, I gave it everything I possibly had. And then right at the end, towards the end of outdoors, I'm just like, this is not working out. Like,
I don't want this.
Like you guys need the opportunity to go and get a good rider. I need the opportunity to go and find a better ride or a
bike that's going to work for me.
Yeah. And at that point, it wasn't even about finding a ride. It was just like, I need to go get healthy.
Yeah.
And see if I want to race dirt bike still. And so then we kind of just mutually, we split. And then I found some things across the border in Mexico that I started doing, and came to San Diego, spent 15 days straight walking them back and forth on the thing, got healthy. And then 3 months later, I was just like, the itch started coming back, and I'm just like, okay, I still need to race dirt bikes.
Yeah.
Like this is still something I want to do. I went home to Australia, and then started. I had rode kind of a Honda and kind of felt really good about it. And then basically Troy Lee at the time, because it was basically a PC Honda, wanted me to, or had a contract for me, but I didn't like their helmet at the time. And I like most kids just wanted to wear Fox.
Yeah.
So I literally turned down a paying Troy Lee ride and created a multi-million-dollar race team and spent, my own money.
Also, you could wear a helmet
based on that I wanted to wear a Fox and just wanted to do. And I was at that point, like,
I back that.
I back it.
Right?
It's all about style and how you feel,
that's
dude.
pretty good.
Like that's and again, like when you look back, like I looked better than everyone. We did shit better than everyone. Like it was like cool. Like it was like I see factory race teams doing stuff that we did and implementing it in their teams still today because of what we did. So
That's rad.
Like everyone always says, oh man, how did you do it? But like I was really at that point in life where like I needed something other than dirt bikes.
Yeah.
Like the dirt bikes thing was awesome and I worked my ass off when I was there. But I was at a point in my life where I could turn it off, and then I needed like another
Something
challenge.
else,
Like I
yeah.
needed a distraction. And the race team was just such a perfect distraction for me. And it never was hard. Like I never looked at it. The reason why we shut down is sponsorship just become challenging.
Yeah, with anything.
And I didn't want to just keep taking piles of money and throwing it on the fire.
How much is piles of money?
4.2 million is where our
That's
team.
piles of money.
That's piles of money.
Yeah,
That's
piles of
multiple
money.
piles of money.
That's a few piles of money. And again, obviously 4.2, not my money, like we were offsetting that, but
That's a lot of money.
There
But
was
still to
periods
come out of pocket when you're doing that with such big logos, like everyone thinks like, oh, he must be making so much money. Where it's like,
Yeah.
no, I'm actually paying some money
and I
to make
was,
this dream work.
to be fair, it was making good money, but then I had personal, then I had race team, and it kept swinging. Race
Yeah.
team would do really well, race team would lose sponsors, and then personally, my personal endorsements had to then start coming this way.
Yeah, like I'll pay for the first
and
few
so
rounds.
it was
until we
like,
get
let's
into the
say there's
title.
in the back door, there's the the accounting,
Yeah.
and it all makes sense, but a lot of it's going one-sided, and that side's really just a fire. You just
Here, take that. Let's just ignite this some more.
blowing
did you
up
love
millions.
it?
Oh, I fucking loved it. I miss it so much.
Well, you
I
got
really do.
you were in control of your own destiny. Like you went out and you hired all the best dudes. Like you were just like picking dudes. Like, oh, I'm taking him. I loved working with Gosler. Like, let's do this. You know.
Yeah, I would start another race team tomorrow with somebody else's checkbook for sure. So, and I would say that like that's the goal today. You know, like
You want to start another race team?
100% want to start another
No
race
way.
team.
Yeah.
Well, dude, think about it. You got your kids coming up. Like you're training like that next factory dude.
Yeah, and again, whether I align with somebody and become an owner, or if I start from scratch and we find partners, but I want to do it, and it's something that I'm looking at. Like I think that when we look at our sport, like I don't see our sport as it has in my opinion, our sport has a really low roof threshold, and we never get above it. Like I think of the 90s and the mid 2000s. Like I know my paycheck and I hear of what the current paychecks are. Like they're not any better,
Yeah,
right? Like
where that you
like
would-
in a lot of ways, like okay, maybe the paycheck's same, but then like our endorsement deals back then were huge.
Yeah.
and
You
multiple.
think bigger than today?
I think bigger today because there was just sponsorship was different. Where now,
And it was more outside.
Maybe there's
sponsors.
a-
Can you guys
yeah.
break down that for the audience at home so they understand? Because McGrath did a good job trying to explain it when it came to like the beer sponsors and these bigger sponsors. But I was just at Anaheim. I thought it was an amazing event. I thought Twitch's I thought your section and what you were doing with Axel and Vicky and your like freestyling event was the highlight of the event.
It's just cool that it gives it like what's
No,
cool
I
with
mean
our
the
deal is
highlight
like
of that event
it's in between
section.
the A practices. So
Yeah.
when everyone's walking back in the pits, it's like they're gonna stop right there because they see dirt bikes. So that's what's cool for us.
It just brought more energy than anything else there. And I mean that politely, respectfully.
there's just nothing else going on. Like all
Yeah.
the dudes are back in
No,
their
I
trucks
wouldn't
and
do
As
that,
a
watching video
sponsor,
footage.
I don't know what I would be sponsoring unless it's a rider. So can you kind of break and you
I had to
too,
go
'cause you were
do
sponsored by
a
the biggest
I had to do a
brands.
Shimano signing at this weekend, and we had to go. It was out by where the freestyle thing was, and it's just like again, everyone. It's like again, it's the inlet where everybody comes through, but it's just everybody standing there watching it, and no, it's cool, right? Like it's such a stupid simple thing. Like it's a dirt bike, which is relevant.
Yeah.
And they're just doing something different than what we're doing.
Yeah,
You know?
and it gives them something to do when they're walking back to the pits. Like, oh shit, a 15-minute show.
And
Sweet.
it's a sick show. So how would the sponsors interact with you differently back then than they do now to teams?
I just think, like, for me, like I think when you talk, I think you have to open the conversation up into action sports has changed, right? Like,
100%.
I feel like mid 2000s, or actually, let's take it late 90s into the mid 2000s. Action sports was just badass, like, and we were a part of that.
It was on TV every day.
Like X Games, let's just single out X Games, and it's like X Games was an event that nobody missed
Yeah.
in the world. And I think now, I couldn't tell you the last X Games, and I don't even know if it exists, that I watched.
Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly. It
Like,
doesn't have that hype anymore. And
like
everything that
like
you would see
going
then,
to that event,
can
going
watch
to
on
the
your
Home
phone.
Depot Stadium, like the night that Travis did a double backflip, like
Insane.
I know where I was, I know where I was sitting, I can remember
know who
it
was
like
next
it
to
was
me.
yesterday.
Yeah.
Well, it was
You
a
know,
pinnacle.
like-
It was the pinnacle of media too. Now, like you have social, you don't even know who's streaming it or broadcasting it.
well, you just see stuff every day on your phone to where it's like you're just used to seeing that now. Where it's like
our
you're not
world
searching
is-
for it on TV.
Like maybe globally, like it's all cool and maybe the numbers are still good, but like as a button seat, people tuned in, not watching it on their phones. It's just like I just think that our like action sports in general has changed a lot. And when I say about action sports is where the sponsorship was driven. Like back in those days, I mean, like you used to have Slim Jim deals and just
Discount tire, like-
discount tire, like just non-moto industry like things. It's not just a Red Bull logo or a Monster logo or a Rockstar logo. Like it's nowadays. I feel like God forbid that those companies decide to put their money elsewhere. I don't know how our sport or action sports survives without it. Where once upon a time, I don't think that we were surviving on one group,
No.
100%.
How was it like when you were doing your team and you were bringing? I remember you and Asvin, you guys were bringing in outside sponsors. Was there a lot of people trying to snake those deals from me like throughout the year?
See, and it's funny because I don't recall like
That's how action
that's a
sports
great
is.
question.
It's
That's a
like-
great
action sports is, and again, it's probably always like I was younger, and so I wasn't as maybe connected to it, and you just, you'd Steve, give me the fucking contract. I'll sign it. When's the
Yeah, where's my zeros at? Yeah,
where's my zeros
That's
at?
a gangster.
Let's
just a couple more
let's go to the
zeros
last
on that.
page.
Let me see how long it is in the zeros.
Yes,
I'm sure Steve loves that from you guys.
he will respect that.
Yeah.
He'll laugh at that. But I think that, and again, like I was, let's single out Steve. I love Steve. I was included in the group of the Dave Miras, the Ryan Shecklers, Pastrana, myself,
like
Block,
legends of the sport.
Hart, Nyquist.
You guys had the best of the best Avengers of action sports
like-
on that.
oh, like-
on that,
Like Aston had the roster of all rosters back
yeah.
then. Like
Dream
he had
roster.
the top 2 dudes in every single sport. Like
Yeah.
dream roster.
Yeah, no, we were crushing it, and I think that and so we always got grouped as that, and individually we all had our own things, but in the event that things needed to be and we could all coexist, we were able
Which
to
probably helped too for
100%
sponsors and
it does,
media.
yeah.
Like you guys rolled deep too. I mean, but did the deals come to you differently than how they go to teams now though? Do you think like people were attacking you for you as a team owner and then you for you as a rider, then you for you as an individual sponsorship owner? Like I feel like it's
And I think the reason, a big reason why it's less in some cases is now, let's say like Factory Kawasaki was Factory Kawasaki. I always say let's single out the Lawrences, because I think the Lawrences are a better indicator, because Honda doesn't have any conflicting things, meaning that they can still have their Rebel deal, they can still have their clothing deal. They kind of like get to be still factory Honda, but then they have their own unique things that they can have.
Yeah.
Where let's say if they rode for Kawasaki, all of that goes away and it's one dimensional. It's like, okay, you get to do, you're a Kawasaki athlete.
yeah.
And you're a monster athlete, and whether you get a personal deal or not, it seems like personal deals are becoming less and less and less, because they don't have to do it. Like they owned you head to toe anyway.
Yep.
And so then, let's say, Jett would only be, let's say he's Monster Kawasaki, maybe he gets the, the Jaxxon on the sleeve and but he doesn't really get anything other than that, like it's all like it really dilutes everything out of it, because you're essentially signing a head-to-toe agreement with Monster Energy Kawasaki.
Yeah.
I think that's amazing. When I first was talking to Twitch about building out like kind of like our moto team here at Jaxxon, even with Santo Studio, when we did the deal with Nordstrom, it was like, which guys could we get that fit the mold, that want to be around this? Because there's a lot going on. But Twitch was like, you actually brought that up to me originally. You're like, yo, like Jett and Hunter own all their own categories. Like, because Twitch has like clothing and shoes in Nordstrom. He has eyewear in Nordstrom's. These are like the new Twitch sunglasses that are from Santo Studio. You can only buy them in Nordstrom. He also has a watch with Jaxxon. Twitch owns his own categories. So as an athlete, for people watching this and understanding what he's saying, it's like you kind of are the master of your own destiny. You can kind of pick and choose where you want to go. It's what made Pastrana so dope. He had so many assets, so many avenues to go down to grow his kind of image as a person. And he's also one of the gnarliest dudes to do it. But I learned that from you, and I really got inspiration from that. So when we went to go meet with Jett and Hunter, they had all their own categories. They could do a watch with us. They could do chains. They could do clothing with Nordstrom. They can do all these different aspects. I mean, Jett just dropped his own sneaker that's in Nordstrom. It's the first time a moto guy probably has had a sneaker in Nordstrom in 20 years. Maybe I don't
Ever.
even
Maybe
know.
Nordstrom's like,
And Twitch has one
Besides
too.
like a skate shoe, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
But I
Nordstrom's-
mean, even when you just strictly single that category out, I mean, once upon a time we all had sneakers.
That's what I mean. DC
and
and
now I couldn't even tell you what action. Not even just speaking moto, but I mean, do you even have a shoe deal these days?
A Santo shoe now.
Yeah,
But
Santo
before
shoe.
that,
But
But I mean, as far as
no.
action sports as
Not
we
in
know it,
10 years.
it doesn't even exist
Yeah.
anymore.
No, it doesn't.
I think
You
the
know, like
last
the-
one that was doing it was DC, and they clipped their moto program in 2016.
Yeah, right.
I think.
So
yeah,
it
when
just-
they
so
got
little things
grouped
like
into
that.
board riders with
Yeah.
Billabong and Ruka and
Exactly.
all those brands. But yeah, that's the idea. Like you guys set precedent for what it meant to be kind of like a business,
Your own
entrepreneur,
individual.
individual business. You do so well at that with DBK. And you're such an icon though, so I think you kind of get like,
Well, no one
you're in a
fights for
different
it
level.
anymore. I think to be fair,
Yeah, exactly. They just go along with the program.
It's a challenging, situation because it's revolving and not always revolving in an easy way. But like Kenny's probably the better one. He's not a factory rider anymore, but yet he still has Steve in his background, you know, creating all that.
Yeah.
He has those unique deals that come across the table, and you know, like Kenny's different. He stands out. You know, he's earned that. Where you got like a Tomac who has the power to do whatever he wants, but he doesn't give a shit. He just wants to race a dirt bike
and win.
And so he's so happy to sign a Red Bull KTM deal and just, dude, here's all my rights.
And then it's just
you know,
easy.
where Jett and Hunter are, you know, are unique in the fact that they, you know, they have these things that mean something to them, and so they fight for it. They have the talent to back up that ask. You know, probably Jett more so than Hunter. But
Yeah, they
you
both
know,
kill it for us. Like they
like
both
if
are
Jett-
on Jaxxon. They're both on Santo Studio. They both do phenomenal. People love
like
them.
wherever Jett goes and wants to do those certain things, he will have that power to do it. You know, maybe he can't achieve it always, but for the most part, he could demand it. Where a lot of the guys, sometimes they don't have the power to demand it, but then even when they do, like in an Eli situation, they don't want that power anyway.
They just don't care.
They're just so happy to, you know, like, and again, I see it positive both sides. You know, like
for sure.
less
Well, it's funny you
stress,
say it
more
like
money,
you're-
more people, more stress, more, you know, more
problems,
signings, more,
less time
you
on
know, more
racing,
people.
more obligations.
Eli is, you know, he answers to Ian Harrison only. You know,
What do you want me to do? Cool.
from head to toe.
But it's
For
funny
the
you
most
say it
part.
like that too, because like when I first started talking to Jett, I'm like, yo, if we take you down this road of fashion, try to get you linked up with some of these runway shows and higher end brands, you're gonna bridge moto and fashion in a new way. We can do it in a way that's tasteful. But he was like, dude, I want to make moto like Formula One. I want people to look at us as racers just like they look at Formula One. And the dude was walking at the Met Gala, like same thing Lewis Hamilton does. So I mean, like he also has this vision of like wanting to create this kind of allure to racers, and that helps the entire industry. I mean, Nordstrom was like, yo, what's Supercross? And then they were like, oh, okay, we know who these guys are. And then they knew who Twitch was.
Moto don't get the recognition
Yeah.
that it should. Like with
Exactly.
how gnarly these dudes, like these dudes are the gnarliest athletes in the world, I believe.
In the world.
The shit they put their body through, the
Yeah, this
stress
is
levels, the thing they do, the heart
frustrating
rates, like
conversation
everything. Seriously
that?
though, right?
Because like I can walk into any Formula One team, somebody on the team's like, wow. And then they'll pull you in the back. They'll show you everything because they fucking love moto.
Yeah,
they remember
'cause
they know who I am.
they
I
know
can
it.
walk into any Formula One paddock, any MotoGP paddock, and those two categories are the only ones I care about. MotoGP is the baddest sport in the world.
Yeah.
Insane.
Outside of Supercross, MotoGP is just awesome. I love it. Formula One, I can take it or leave it. I think it's awesome, but you know, it is what it is, right? Like
Yeah.
it's car racing, and then you're just a monkey strapped in a seat, and if you have the best seat, then
Your
you
seat's
win
winning.
races.
Yeah.
Your seat's winning. And so, like when I think of those two, and you look at the trajectory and how just you know successful and how like let's take Mark Marquez's, or Mark maybe isn't the perfect guy right now, like a Fabio Quartararo.
Yeah.
He's making 15-16 million a year from Yamaha.
Yeah.
You know.
Gnarly.
I kind of know what Jett's making. I promise you ain't making that much money a year, you know?
From one sponsor.
From one sponsor. And when I compare them globally, I'd argue that Jett's not just as big as Quartararo.
Yeah.
You know? And unfortunately our sport is American based. The World Supercross thing, I got in trouble because I started doing it because I seen it was an outlet. Like it was like our sport needs that. We need to be on world. You know, like when you think about the US budget, it's this big.
Yeah,
for us.
versus every other.
Where you go into a global budget and it's this whole
enormous.
Yes. And so I am always in favor of like our sport. I always believe that we have this ceiling that is super, super, super low. And that comes from Feld, that comes from the AMA, that comes from motocross, you know, and then now we have them together, which I don't agree with. It's not my personal preference. I think that motocross is badass, but it is core and it should stay core.
Yep.
And trying to you're diluting Supercross by aligning it with motocross, in my opinion. Supercross is the raddest sport. You could take it anywhere in the world, put it in a stadium, and do it correct. It's like freestyle.
Yeah.
Like freestyle, you don't go to motocross events and try to, we do it, and it's cool. But like if you're doing an X Fighters or an X Games back in the old days, you don't take it to rural cities.
No.
You put it in the biggest city in the middle, right?
And that's it.
And you do it because you can. And that's what Supercross is. And we're, as a sport, not singling anyone out as a sport, we're not doing a good job at that.
Yeah, for sure.
I've never really heard that that take on it, and like I totally agree. Like I think it, as a fan now, sitting on the couch and being able to watch this and having the playoffs at the end, but it's just they're just two separate animals. And
Completely separate.
Supercross is like, I don't know, just going up around it. That's like, that's the shit. You know, going to a stadium and like a packed house and like smelling the race, feeling you're like up close and personal. Like, you know, the outdoors, it's very core, like you said.
Oh,
You
outdoors
have,
is badass. I love it.
Me
For our
too.
sport in general, I would hate to see it go away tomorrow. But
100%.
But do I think that we need to, you know, keep it like where it's like this mandatory thing that we continue to do? I don't see that. You know, like when you really do compare that, you know, Netflix version of Formula One and MotoGP. Motocross is not that. I'm sorry. It's just that simple. But yeah, I mean, it is like our sport's so rad. Like the athletes, like they're real athletes. Like they're rock stars. They're athletes. Like they're all the things that Formula One and MotoGP have. Yeah. We just haven't tapped into the thing, and it's like singling again. The Lawrence is out because of their connection with you guys. My opinion is a couple of years ago, look at what happened with World Supercross, right? Like, you know, there was this big thing where they all aligned on this SMX, you know, they kind of get in bed with the manufacturers and then they blocked it all. Like, think of, like, I can promise you that there is millions left on the table for Jett because he didn't align with World Supercross.
100%.
And not only was that short term, but I really think it was for the better good of our sport, not just the millions that was going to go into his pocket.
Yeah.
You know, just the better good, like, let's get it global. Let's do it.
It just creates a bigger fan base, which is going to bring in more sponsors and more
going to
dollars.
Australia is important. Going to Paris is important. But really in the big scheme of things, you know, guys like that, that's what the world wants to see. They want to see the greatest kid, you know, that's doing two-wheeled Supercross right now. They want to see him around the world and around the globe. And I would say that that's, you know, touchy subject. That's what Deegan's doing a little better, I think. You know, I don't align with a lot of things, most things that Deegan's are doing. But in that particular subject, I do like that he's starting to put his foot in that arena and starting to do it because I do think for the better good of our sport.
It's helping grow for sure, 100%, yeah.
I got one last thing before
I got one after you too.
Cool. Yeah, before we get ready to wrap this up. A lot of people want to know how you stayed so healthy. You have 116 Supercross main events. That's one more race than Ricky Carmichael raced in his entire career. And you did that straight
Gnarly, dude.
without missing one. And
crazy.
It's one of the craziest stats when I was looking up just stats of you. And people kept saying in the podcast, probably like the most healthiest rider of all time. But like to race at that level and that speed and these different generations of battles from Carmichael to Stewart to Villapoto, like you've seen the best of the best guys too.
He's
like,
battled all the best
You've
dudes.
battled everybody. You've done it all, but you stayed healthy the whole time. What's the secret?
Yeah, I mean, to that level, like at my Hall of Fame thing, like at 43 retired, like it's my most proudest thing. Like I don't stay awake at night thinking, oh, I could have done this and done that better. You know, like those conversations in your own head go through still, but they don't keep me awake at night like they used to. But for me, it's the moments where you think, I raced Jeremy McGrath at the end. I raced Ricky Carmichael. I raced James, K-Dub, Eli, you know, Villapoto,
Every great.
Dungy. Like when you look at the numbers, every one of those dudes, like no one else can really say that they beat those actual particular
in
guys.
each one of those dudes at one point was the best dude.
And so like that's something that you...
That's gnarly. That's fucking rad.
It's a pretty insane stat.
It's fucking cool.
It's a stat that's probably the coolest, really. Like that's the one you're just like, yeah, okay, the wins, the whatever is cool, but like the fact that I beat every one of those dudes above me or below
Straight
me,
up.
like I'm good.
Yeah, exactly.
For
Like,
generations. Like that's like 3 eras of motocross.
And not only just beat him, but like you got to race him first and foremost. But then to race him at that level and beat him, it's like that's the
stay healthy,
coolest
though.
compliment ever.
coolest
And staying
stat of all
Stay
time.
healthy.
I always look at staying healthy completely different than the average person does because for me, like that's your fucking job.
Yeah.
Like I don't care who you are, past, present, like dropping gates on Saturday night, that is your job to be there. Getting injured, I have to be careful what I say.
No, just give it to us.
Getting injured is a result of shitty people around you and not being in the right frame of mind. I do not believe that mistakes are a thing. I believe mistakes come from you're only as good as the weakest person in your circle. And, you know, there's a lot of noise in certain people that just recently got hurt in the background happening. And I believe that there's a higher contribution of those things than them just making a mistake and it being that stupid simple. It's much, much more than that. And
Just
so
other things going on in the
I
background
think
that
that
you're
there's
thinking
just
about.
so much more. And moto, you take a game of like, you know, let's say inches down to millimeters and you fuck it up by a couple of millimeters and it's over like that. And there's just a zero tolerance for it. I wish I had a zero tolerance even stronger through my career, but and then the other thing I would say is like the amount of times I shouldn't have raced. I also race because the pain of not racing was far more than
actual
than
pain.
the actual pain that I was ever going to endure. So I think it's a combination, and it's something that I see and like something that I push with my son going into this. Wanting to be a moto guy, it's just like it's really minimizing the people and picking and choosing who you surround yourself with, and I think that's hugely underrated on what effect that those people can have on your lives.
100%.
Yeah, with the whole move and like your new role at club, like that's got to be pretty cool. Just like something different, and like it's got to be so rad for your kids to have that in their yard now.
Just like, I mean, we live it, breathe it, eat it, on a daily. And at a certain point, we need to find a way where you're just kind of, you're in, but then you're out. Let's get out for a second.
Yeah.
But then our lives is always pretty hectic, but right now, like, I don't know it any other way. Like, I grew up on 25 acres. My family had, and I had a track in my backyard, and you kind of just learn that, like, there's time to work, and then there's time to chill and be a kid and teenager. And if you want to go ride your BMX bike and go to the pump track, those things are important as well. So, and I feel like I've tried to do that too. Like, we're starting to build like a pump track and starting to build like a dirt jump line.
Just
and
keeping it fun again.
Just keeping it fun. And it's like, I feel like we become so, like, Ricky created this, we'll blame him. But he came in with this new training regime, and it's like
work.
so work. But they only fed us, or maybe not me, I included, because you kind of I always stuck to what I did. But like, I think they fed the world, and then here we are 15, 20 years later, and then our whole sport is regimented around what said Ricky supposedly did, and it's the version that is like, only tell you like the hard days. They don't tell you what you did on the easy day.
Yeah.
The days that the guy went and played golf or he did something, like completely fun, but they only talk about it. And so now it's like 24/7. You only do that.
Yeah.
Right? And again, living at a facility, I see the volume and how much they ride. And my kids probably honestly do 50, 60% of what sometimes the other guys are doing, just because I pull back and
You don't want them getting burnt out so early.
No. And again, just be more specific on what we're doing and what we're chasing.
How has it been working with like all the guys on club, like Max and Shock and like all those? It's cool. I talked to Cody the other day, and he's like, I just sit back and listen to Chad talk because he has so much knowledge and he's done everything that we want to do. He's like, I just sit there and I just listen. Like, I don't say shit.
It's funny. Like, I've only had one day where I kind of lost my shit a little bit, but
Just because they're not listening?
no, it was kind of a day that just got away from us. And it was kind of like, again, it was just that typical miscommunication where, we had a plan, and then, suddenly something kind of like, like there was things starting to come in, and then everyone kind of went like this. And I just kind of was just like, this is not it. Like, this is not how we do it, guys. Like we're here to fucking ride dirt bikes.
Yeah.
And we're going to do this laps in this amount of time. And then whatever you want to do after that, and you're off my clock,
Go for it.
Then, dude, you can do whatever you want. But right now, and I just kind of had to tell everybody step aside and bring the guys in a little bit. So there was only that one day, and I didn't have to apologize, but I just kind of like at the end of the day kind of brought them in and made them realize, or helped them understand, like, hey, I'm sorry, the way I said it, my execution of getting from point A to point B wasn't ideal.
Yeah.
But this is what I was trying to get at, and they all bought in. And I would say that that's probably what's been most enjoyable is, like, there's so many different guys that have raced before, and they come in and they kind of have their philosophies on how they do it. And so sometimes you're coming in and you're actually trying to just be who you say you're going to be, showing up every day and doing the shit that you say you're going to do. Because I think that people prior to me that they've worked with maybe they say one thing, but then the outcome's not always the same. You know, maybe they're there one day, but not the next. Me living there has helped them see that, you know, whatever they're feeling, like I'm there.
Yeah.
I'm the same dude that's going to be there for the good, the bad, the ugly, and I'm always there. And that's probably what's helped the most is just they've bought in on trusting that I'm always going to be there for them. And I think that's super rad for me.
Very
That's
important
cool.
too,
Yeah.
for them, you know?
Yeah.
And I think that they'll outside looking in, that they would really appreciate that and appreciate those hard days, like when you had to kind of get on them. Like that's when they'll listen, and then they'll learn from listening.
I'm not just a dude that did it once, you know.
Yeah,
like
you're still out there doing motos with
yeah,
them. Like,
like-
I think that's rad.
Like I come from experience, but I also come from an understanding of like, dude, most days are not fun.
No.
And most days are not easy.
No, the fun days are the
Yeah.
races. Like
But
during the
you
week,
can make them
it's the
fun
hard
and
shit.
easy, you know? Like,
Yeah.
And that's the biggest thing. And again, like the guys that we're working with, like not one of them have won a race before, like a main event. And so you're taking, you know, you're just trying to take him up that gradient and trying to teach him all the little things and try to get that base bigger. You know,
like,
like
it's not
showing
gonna
up at
happen
Anaheim,
overnight.
the goal was never to be here and win. But we've done the work to win, but we also need to show up and get the 8th place finish that we got, the
Yep.
7th place finish. And then now, you know, like it's funny, you just did 2 months of work.
Yeah,
And
look where you're at.
The heat race and the main event is the worst that I've seen him ride in the last 8 weeks.
When
you know?
what Yoder? No, he was leading the heat race, right?
And
Also,
again, ticking boxes. Like Yodes has never won, never led a race. you
And
know?
look at that.
And he was so excited.
He was ripping.
You know, and you have to tick those boxes.
Yeah.
I don't care who
It's
you are.
it's an accomplishment.
You're never exempt from like those little wins, and it's the little wins that add up to getting to the big win. You
Yep,
know,
100%.
And so that's my thing. Is
Love
like
that.
Everything, business, everything.
right?
Yeah.
Imagine doing all these things, and never acknowledging the wins along the way.
Never checking it or anything. Like
You'd come crashing down.
you got to
Just-
celebrate those little things because they're going to add up to big
Yeah,
things.
and again, at our age, you probably learn that a little more, and you
Yeah.
try to help them. In that
You don't
area.
see that when you're younger. You're like, oh, I'm never going to win. Like what the hell?
When you're knee deep in it all, it's hard to see it and take it on. But that's the biggest thing I've tried to do is just really understand like it's, you know, there's a time to show up to work and then there's a time to fuck around, and
Yep.
you know, we just need to split those two up a little bit.
You had your fair share of fucking around.
Yeah.
You always had some fun. I'd always see him like at the after parties and stuff. I was like, fucking Reed's awesome, dude. Like he's out here like living it right now. He was checking those boxes after he would win a race. He was enjoying his time.
I enjoyed when I won for sure.
Yeah.
Like it was a good time. You know, and sometimes I just like being around people too. Like a lot of people, like it's like that's where Ricky and I were probably different. Like he seemed like he was really, you know, in his little bubble. I needed to be more real.
Yeah.
Like I needed to, and it wasn't that I just like, but sometimes I just needed to be around people. You
Yeah,
know? And
just to have
sometimes
fun.
it was being around people that were like, shit, it's not, I don't do that. That's not who I am.
Yep.
And now I know I'm okay, good. I can go back to bed now. You know,
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
but
yeah,
there was
exactly.
times like I felt like I didn't just, you know, like rule everything out, and I just stayed, you know, here. Like sometimes I benched out and, you know, did dumb shit. So
That's how you learn.
I learned a lot.
Everybody does.
Yeah, yeah.
I have one last one. So he mentioned it earlier. You're one of 2 riders now that have won on 4 different manufacturers. Started with the Yamaha Troy, then it went to San Manuel, then Suzuki, Cowie, 2-2, and then Factory Yamaha. Is
Yeah.
that right?
Yeah, factory Yamaha after both times. So
Yeah.
kind of like prior to San Manuel, I was a factory Yamaha.
What was out of all those? Like, what was your favorite team, and like who would have been your favorite teammate over all those years?
Oh, teammate. As far as teams, like I was always like you take it for the like I feel like you only know what you know.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, like my factory Yamaha days at the beginning, I loved them because it was a group of guys that really wanted to win. And back in that era, it was Yamaha versus Honda. And it was just this rivalry that was like you just had to beat Honda guys and they had to beat us. And it was like this real burning like rivalry where now like that's just non-existent across the board, I feel like no one really like it's like everyone's happy for everyone gives them a high five, and it's like where back in the old day it was like if a Honda guy won, you'd be just like fuck, and the whole team would,
Everyone was like,
and the
fuck.
team was pissed.
Yeah.
you know?
No one was happy.
And so like I'm really thankful that I lived that era because that was who I am as a person. Like I'm competitive.
Yeah, if
and
you don't win, you're pissed.
Yeah, I'm pissed, you know. So like I really like that part. And then with saying that, then when I did 2-2, I got to be on the Honda team. And I think you know, and you learn so much, you know, like Honda, when I was at Suzuki not so much these days, but you know, like I almost group KTM without me being a factory KTM. And the reason I do it is because I feel like the current KTM team is essentially it's the old Suzuki team when like the whole Suzuki team when I was there is KTM now. And just like all that nice stuff that, you know, like that rivaled Honda and Cowie, like for factory bikes is now KTM. And so I look at KTM and it's like, they do shit just so nice. Like when I look at a bike, it's the KTM, it's the Honda, and it's the Cowie. Like those three bikes are just, they are real works bikes, you know, like the little pieces. The
little things that you see
all
them
the
doing.
little things that maybe the average eye doesn't catch. You know, I also know what happens and the things that they have access to that the world doesn't need to know about. They do shit at a very high level where like Yamaha has, you know, clearly an awesome bike and whatever, but it's like, it's more like you get a whole bunch of production parts and then we just revamp it here in America. And so it's like an Americanized version of a factory bike, you know, throw some tie on it and, you know, nice transmissions that Japan makes and some, you know, different things. But for the most part, like a Honda and a KTM and a Cowie, like those bikes, they roll as a works bike, you know?
Yeah,
like
for sure.
And I guess I can appreciate those. Those are the bikes that
nice.
But yeah, just
Teammate.
hard to be. Oh, who would I go for teammate?
That's like a very loose, open-ended question. Yeah, you've had a lot of really cool ones. I mean, I just think for me as a kid, like seeing, you know, the years of the McGrath to, you know, you and Carmichael and Stu, those years is what molded me as a kid. You know, I'm 34, so like that, my like watching you do 2-2 your way was the coolest thing. And then it's like I just always am like, man, I wonder what it would.
It's
like
funny because I never
be
really had
teammates with J Law.
Well, I wasn't teammates officially with him, but like when my time 08, he won a title as well.
Yeah.
You know, and so I was the lead factory and then he was Yamaha Troy. And so we were essentially on the same team. And you know, I mean, that was peak J-Law right there. You know, just the shit show that was the test track and all the things that, you know, J-Law did was always interesting. And so you kind of witness that and you see, you know what, just in particular, J-Law, as crazy as he was, the dude works so hard.
That's what I was gonna say. Everyone would always be like, "Oh, he fucks up all the time."
And it's where
But he worked.
it's when you always come back to, you can never do anything at a high level without the workload.
Yeah.
100%.
And it was like the dude would be there at 8 a.m. doing laps, and then what he did from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. maybe I don't agree with.
I was thinking
or I don't
10
know.
p.m. or
But
10
then-
a.m. till like 4 a.m.
No. So he would ride Supercross in the morning, just ride his, like, do all his motos.
Do his motos.
And you'd come there and he, like we wouldn't show up and ride until 9. And dude, like he was finishing. You know, he's already rode everyone else's track at that point. He jumped everyone
I remember when he would go
else's
jump all the
fences.
fences and ride
And
everyone's
so
tracks.
and then he'd be like done at like 9 a.m., 9:30 a.m. And then, you know, he'd go do his thing in the middle of the day. Then he would go to Paris and ride all night at Paris.
Yep. He
you know?
loves riding, dude.
And he just loved riding his dirt bike. And so like I think that you know, when you think of J-Lo, you think of all the crazy that he did, but people underestimate that the dude really he actually had structure at one point of the day.
Yeah.
Maybe it started and ended with one thing and it was just always questionable what he did in the middle part. But he really did work hard. But as far as teammates, I enjoyed all my teammates. Like outside of Alessi was interesting character, but like Villeman, Tim Ferry, like these are guys that I learned a lot from. Guys that are still in my phone and I text with regularly and DM with them regularly and things like that. You know, McGrath was at Yamaha. He was, you know, on his own team, but he was, when I was at Yamaha Troy, he was there. And so just, you know, it wasn't his direct teammate, but on the track. And I remember we got into it in Paris the couple weeks before, and then I came here and we kind of had to bury the hatchet a little bit, and then there was a jump on the track, and he got a shovel and kind of put a little lip on it so I could do it on a lights bike, just things like that.
That's
like those,
cool.
like I don't feel like we don't have that interaction anymore within the sport. Like now everybody's locked in Florida, and it's just like it's kind of boring, right? Like I feel like I used to love coming out west, because California is its own world in its own way.
Yeah, it is.
And you come out here and it's just different, and you kind of do your thing, you do all your sponsor things, and then you go back and work. But it was always fun to come out here, where I feel like now it's like, I don't see it as that much. Like it's not as cool as it used to be. Like everyone was here back then. Yeah, the majority of our paddock is still already in Florida this week.
Yeah.
Like I know Roxon went back, a lot of those guys, and it's, and it's just, I don't know, I miss that part, because it's like where the bonding part comes from.
Yeah, exactly. Like, when everyone's done at the end of the day, like, yo, let's go.
Like I used to, like he said that you watched us growing up, and now you live your life doing that and make a living from riding in the hills and stuff. But like, it was the weeks like this, and again, it's beautiful weather this week, but it was like the rain weeks.
Yeah.
And then everyone, no matter what team it was, like we all went and rode in the hills.
Yeah, now the teams won't even let the dudes have a bike to go ride in the
now
hills.
you're not even allowed to take your factory bike in the hills.
No.
Like it's just little things like that. Like I miss about our sport, and little things that have changed. And
that kept it fun.
That really kept it fun. So going back to your question of like me riding as much as I did and as many motos, the sport was badass and was just fun, And I don't think it's still, not that it's not badass or fun.
It's just not what it was.
But it's a little different,
Yeah.
And you don't know what you don't know. So
I think
those kids don't need to miss.
Yeah, they don't know.
They're not missing it because they don't know any different.
There's no way you can take like the badassery away from like what we do, but it's just with everything in life that it just changes, and there's cycles and generational flips of things. Like my generation was watching, you guys all battle, and then watching you guys also go to Beaumont and go rip on the rainy days.
Go cut in the track, hit some jumps, just have some fun.
Supercross, like all this dude would do is call me and be like, dude, you're a free rider. You're not a supercrosser. Like, come ride with us. Come film
Let's
with
go have
us.
some fun and make money.
Yeah.
And it really, like, I then have this like deeper appreciation for this thing because I love it and because I have fun with it, rather than like going to like be a gate filler and try to make a main event. Like that's awesome, right? I got to tick that box. But
more people need to realize that.
100%.
There's a really damn cool story to dirt bikes. And
No, I think besides you being like a legend of the game, and congratulations on the Hall of Fame inductee.
Hell yeah, that was so sick.
Insane.
I was stoked.
But I think people just love hearing these stories. They love kind of getting a deeper layer to these guys, because there's some media in moto, but like one thing Twitch was really big about this year was like, all right, how do we get everybody in here and let them just talk and not let it be scripted too much and let it be just kind of raw, rugged, and real. So I appreciate you coming through. I know our Jaxxon Podcast Discord, for those of you guys that are watching, we have a moto section. You go in there, ask us all the questions, all the guests you guys want to see. Plus, we put all the behind the scenes from the episodes and everything going on here at Jaxxon Media House in that Discord. And make sure you guys leave a comment and let us know who you guys want to see on the next episode. We appreciate you guys. Congrats on your DBK Fly Racing commercial. That looked insane, by the way. And I saw it on the big screen at the stadium. And I think I saw it on Peacock, too. I was watching. Yeah. So I think they were airing it everywhere. So congrats on that.
Thank you.
Bierman, I heard you might be joining us for a few more episodes this year.
Yeah.
As an official co-host. So that might be an exciting time for Bierman. Obviously, if you guys don't know, he has one of the most insane videos of the year so far on Apple and Red Bull.
It's not even been out a month and it's got 5 years of watch time already.
Yeah,
it's
this
insane.
thing is just going berserk, and it's Bierman just island hopping, just doing the most incredible things on a bike. So cool to see what you're doing. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure you guys like, subscribe, and check out the channel. We're out.